I don't know exactly where to even start trying to recap for you the weekend that has just unfolded in Ontario. Normally a very placid, calm, even sedate place, sometimes in a good way, often not in a good way. Absolutely bonkers livid with anger over the weekend, and I don't think this is over. Look, if you are in Ontario, you know what I'm talking about, and even for many of you who aren't, you probably know the outline of it, but the third wave here is serious. It is more serious than a lot of us had expected it to be. It's definitely more serious than we were hoping it would be. The Ontario government has stumbled into this despite ample warning. Either they didn't believe the warning or they overestimated their ability to handle the crisis once it came. They haven't been able to do that. We are facing a very serious situation in our hospitals, and it's getting worse. You all know this by now. I don't need to walk you through Epidemiology 101. Whatever your cases are today are your hospitalization rates 2 weeks from now. We have baked in a crisis that isn't apparent yet, and we're already at the breaking point. And we know that it's going to keep getting worse for at least 2 weeks. Probably longer than that, but we're in deep, deep stuff right now in Ontario. And Doug Ford on Friday panicked. There's no way to be nice about this. Doug Ford on Friday brought down some really stupid rules. You don't have to take my word for it. He walked them back the next day. New police powers that Doug Ford brought in were rejected publicly by dozens of police forces. I have never seen anything like this. On Saturday, I kept a live Twitter feed going where I basically just kept updating it every hour with new municipal police forces that were going, you know what? We're not going to use these new powers you've given us. Imagine how crazy something has to be for the police to go, well, thank you for the new powers we've been given, but there is no way we're using those because that's crazy. They were more polite about it, but that was certainly in the message. Also, despite more than a year of evidence showing that being outdoors is the safest place to congregate, and that there are huge mental health impacts on children and families of basically house arrest as we try to get this third wave under control, Doug Ford and his government shut down playgrounds. Why? There is no good reason. Like I said, he panicked. That was also walked back within less than 24 hours. The net effect of this, folks, and you need to understand, it's not about looking at this, that, or the other policy. It's not about saying, well, Doug Ford got this right or he got this wrong. Some things he's gotten right, some things he has gotten wrong. That's not really the point. The point is, we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks in this province one decision after another, and they're no longer, like, the reversals are no longer spread weeks apart or even days apart. We have gotten to the point where the Premier of Ontario and his cabinet are reversing their own directives within hours of having given them. There is no charitable interpretation for this. There is no defense that can be offered. I actually spent part of the weekend thinking to myself, who is generally considered to be a friendly voice? It could have been a pundit. It could have been a friendly journalist. It could have been a former Ontario Conservative who's sort of gone on into the think tank or the lobbying world. I was just genuinely wondering, like, who would be the people most likely to come out and make a strong pro-Doug Ford stance? I checked out the Twitter or the Facebook feeds of as many of them as I could think of. You want to know how many were actually defending the government's conduct over the last 72 hours? Zero. Precisely zero. The danger here is not any particular policy. The danger here is that I do not know who the hell is running this province right now. We are heading into the most dangerous phase of this pandemic, and no one is in control in Ontario.